What does it take to be a 21st century leader? Well, why don't we set some context in terms of why leadership is important right now, and then maybe give an example of what good looks like, and then probably go into some attributes of what it takes to be a good leader in the 21st century. If we go back over 100 years, we've seen huge leaps in both industrial and technological change. It's had a huge effect on society and the world that we live in. But not everything has moved on since. We'll often see old-style leadership traits, which really come under the command and control.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Things that aren't relevant today. Things like hierarchy, functional constructs of an organisation, the way that we manage performance, the way that we reward performance. Those are some of the things that you'll recognise and see. But none of that is relevant for today, or none of that is useful for today. And we really need a courageous leader to help break that and then start creating the speed and flexibility that's needed to create agile organisations. So I suppose we can use an example. It's always good to use an example, right? And one of the favourite examples we like to use here at Sullivan Stanley is that of Formula One. So if you ask a Formula One fan about their favourite Formula One team and how they operate, what they'll describe is something that sounds a bit like a network of high-performance teams in that organisation that all come together, that empower individuals, that bring the best of their strengths and contribute to the overall success of the team. And when we see agile organisations and leaders of agile organisations, truly agile organisations, you see exactly the same thing. You see a leader that empowers individuals, creates an environment for teams to thrive. I think the realisation that leaders need to come to now is that leadership is no longer an entitlement. It used to be that it would come with tenure and experience and even your connections, but it's no longer an entitlement. Leadership is a privilege, and with that privilege comes responsibility. And it's a responsibility to bring happy, healthy environments for our people to thrive in and to bring their best of their strengths to the workplace and really help the organisation succeed. So there's lots of attributes when it comes to a 21st century leader, but I think I'll pick four. For me, the four really important ones, number one is empathy, having empathy. And when we talk about empathy, it's not about the leader, it's not about that one person, it's about the many. And you need empathy in order to be able to see how you are perceived through the eyes of your people. If you don't have that, then how are you going to help them? How are you going to enable them to do better, be better, enable them to actually unlock the talent that they have? So empathy is really critical when it comes to leadership. That's one. And the other one is empowerment. So we all want more from our people, and the only way to get more from them is truly to empower them. Now that's easy to say, but very difficult to put in practice. You know why? Because it requires action. And so that means leaders need to take real action. They need to remove obstacles, they need to change structures, they need to actually embed new behaviours that are probably legacy and been hanging around for many generations. The third attribute is around aligned autonomy. What I mean by that is striking a balance between the alignment that people have in terms of the vision that they're working towards and then giving them the autonomy. So in an organisation, people need to know the why and the what. Right? They need some level of direction when it comes to why they're doing what they're doing and what they need to focus on, but actually they need the space to figure out the how. And it's that intersection where you see innovation and empowerment truly flourish. The fourth trait of a courageous leader is courageous vulnerability. Courageous leadership is not just about being courageous, it's also about being vulnerable. When we think about the world that our people are facing into right now, we talk about volatility, we talk about uncertainty, we're asking them to take a leap of faith. We're asking them to step forward into something that's uncertain. You know what that means? That means that they have to experiment, they have to learn, and they have to actually make improvements. So in order for people to make that leap and do so safely, leaders need to create the environment, and that environment needs to engender safety, engender trust, and really help them manage through that process. Leaders who display these attributes do two things. They don't just create environments where an organisation can thrive and be responsive to change, but they also create fertile ground for future leaders to actually emerge from, and that's really important.